Hello and welcome to the wood shop here at Crazy Crow Trading Post. Today we're going to talk about how to fit a tomahawk head to its handle. Now, maybe recently you bought a tomahawk from Crazy Crow and you wondered, well, why didn't this come already assembled? Well, there's a couple of reasons for this. First, these tomahawk heads are all hand forged, so there are subtle differences from one tomahawk head to the next, so that the shape of the eye is going to be maybe a little different from this tomahawk head to another one you might get. Another reason is that these handles are subject to swelling and shrinkage, so maybe we would fit it here, and by the time it got to your house where the humidity is different, it might not fit. So today we're going to show you how to fit your own head to the tomahawk handle to get you started, as well as you'll know how to do this if you should ever break a tomahawk handle in the future. So right now we're going to talk about what kind of tools you'll need to do this kind of work. Let me show you what the ends of your tomahawk should look like after you get through properly fitting the head to it. You notice these two ends here, and maybe it's hard to see, but this one, there's a little bit of space around the eye, between the eye of the head and the handle wood, and that's not proper. What we're shooting for is more like this one here, which has really no spaces between the wood and the iron head, and that's what we're after. Also notice that this hawk over here doesn't have any wood extending out of it. This one does, of course, but this one means that if for some reason this hawk head ever gets loose and needs to be refitted, there's no space left for you to move forward. This one here, of course, would allow you to move forward the head a little bit on the handle if you do need to reshape it to fit it. Here are the tools we recommend to make this process easier. If you're going to do this completely by hand, the main tools you need are wood rasps. Now, a great rasp is called a 4-in-hand, which actually has 4 different cutting surfaces on it. But for right now, today, we have 2 different rasps with 2 different cutting surfaces on them. We really don't recommend using a belt sander because you'll end up taking off too much wood, and this will cause you more problems than you want to deal with. But first, you'll need to use these rasps to remove a small amount of wood, and then when you're near to finished, you can use some different grits of sandpaper to do a real final, firm fit. We're going to go ahead and try to actually fit a head to a handle. And if you'll notice, the way these come, these blanks are already kind of roughed out, so there's kind of a teardrop shaped head on the wooden handle to roughly approximate what you're going to have in your axe head. So the first thing I'm going to do is slide the head on so that they're oriented in the same direction as far as the teardrop shape. And now I'm going to move this as far forward as I possibly can. I'm going to take a soft mallet and tap the wood handle onto the head. Now, we recommend a soft mallet because if you use a steel hammer, you're just going to mar your tomahawk head, and you don't want to do that. So first things I'm going to do is tap this in as far as I possibly can, and now I have to remove it. And there's different ways to do this, but what I like to do is just pound on the end of the handle until I loosen it. Now let me show you what we have here. You can see that there are now marks on this handle. This means this is where the axe head has actually been forced up onto the wood. And what you want to do next is to take your rasps and remove the wood where these marks are showing. And this is really only where you want to remove wood. You don't want to get too fast on this, or it'll just make it harder to get a good firm fit. So what I'm going to do now is take my rasp and start to remove some of these marks. Check it all the way around for marks, but just remove wood where the marks are. Now that I've done that, I'm going to repeat the process. And basically this is trial and error. So all we're going to do is repeat this process, pound it on, remove the handle, and you can see that there are some marks on this already. So I'm going to continue to take my rasp and remove this wood and do trial and error while I gently advance this head up as far as I can go, still so that I leave at least 3/4 of an inch or so on the very end for future adjustment. Well, here is my Tomahawk after I finally fitted it. Again, there's no space between the wood and the head, and I've left a little bit on the end just in case in the future there's some kind of shrinkage, or over time, actually, as you use your Tomahawk, it's going to continually work this head a little bit forward. So I've left a little bit room for future adjustment.